She blinked. That's all she did, just a blink. But something behind her eyes was different now. Her skin was grayish. Her lips cracked and pale, and tiny crystals of ice clung to her lashes like fragile daggers. My daughter had frozen in the dark while her mother sipped rum beneath Caribbean stars, wrapped in the arms of a man who wore his sunglasses long after the sun had set. 3 days earlier, I kissed them both goodbye. My wife, Camila, softly on the cheek, and my daughter on the forehead. Ava had nestled into my chest, warm and cooing, her tiny body relaxed against mine. Camila said she needed air, a girl's trip, just for a few days. I believed her. She packed light, but brought the red lipstick, the one she wore when she needed to feel desired, seen. The house was silent when I returned from work the following evening. No cries, no bottles, no signs of life. I assumed she had taken Ava along with her friends. But as the hours dragged on, the texts stopped. My calls went unanswered. I checked the nursery. The crib sat untouched. The diaper bag sat where it always had. My pulse thudded like war drums as I stood there, the air in the house heavy, unnatural. It felt as though the entire home was holding its breath, as though something terrible had unfolded while no one was looking. The hum of the freezer was the only sound, like a distant whisper in the stillness. On the third day, driven by a strange instinct, I opened it. I was not prepared for the hell I found. Inside, wrapped in plastic in a blanket, was my daughter, folded like she was nothing more than discarded leftovers. Her lips were blue, her skin stiff, her tiny eyelids sealed with frost. The sound that tore from me wasn't human. It was something raw, ancient, pain clawing up from the darkest part of my soul. I don't remember punching the wall. Don't remember falling. Only the blood on my knuckles. Then came the blur of hospital lights, the questions, the machines, and finally, miraculously, her breath. They called it a miracle, a freak accident of preservation. Her tiny heart whispered back to life, breath returning like a forgotten prayer. No brain damage, no frostbite, just silence, and then life. I never spoke to Camila, not right away. They found her in Barbados, drunk and laughing on a beach beside a man who wasn't me. She told the authorities she had forgotten Ava was in the laundry room, that she was sleep-deprived, that it had been an accident, a mother's mistake. No charges, no intent. That's what they said. A slip, not a crime. But I remembered. I remembered the little signs, the way she hadn't looked at Ava for days before she left. How she stared out the window muttering, "I feel trapped." How she flinched when Ava cried. How she stopped calling her by name, referring to her instead as it or your daughter. I remembered everything. And I said nothing. I played the grieving fool. I let her come home. Camila wept when she saw Ava again, holding our daughter like she hadn't tried to erase her from existence. I nodded, let her believe she still mattered. But while she slept, I began my work. Not with fists, with leverage. Camila was a trust fund child. Her father built hotels in Dubai. Her mother collected wealthy husbands like trophies. But her inheritance was locked behind strict morality clauses. No criminal record, no public shame, or the money vanished. So I built the noose. Quietly, I hired a private investigator to unearth every sordid detail. The affair, the man, Paul Breener, a hedge fund parasite with a history of gambling and pharmaceuticals. I brought in an old college friend, a cyber forensics expert now working with the FBI. I handed him Camila's old phone backups, her emails, her deleted messages. And he delivered everything, photos, texts, plans. She hadn't intended to leave me with custody. She didn't want that mess. She didn't want Ava at all. The baby was an inconvenience, a problem she couldn't bring herself to solve directly. So she locked her in the freezer, trusting the cold to erase her silently, make it look like some tragic accident. I waited. I sold the house, moved Ava and myself into a quiet townhome. When Camila protested, I nodded again, calling it temporary. Then, when the trap was ready, I released everything. Not loud, not messy, surgical. An anonymous email to her father's corporate board, another to a journalist. Screenshots, voicemails, GPS timestamps. One devastating image of Ava wrapped in thermal foil on a hospital table, fighting to breathe. Her father disowned her. The inheritance disappeared. Paul abandoned her. Her face trended online beneath hashtags I won't even repeat. Brands dropped her. Friends vanished. She evaporated into scandal. But I wasn't finished. I filed for sole custody, psychological endangerment. I arrived in court wearing a black suit, Ava resting quietly on my chest. Camila walked in with a public defender, pale and fragile. The judge read the email transcripts aloud. Camila sobbed, but I never looked at her. I never raised my voice. I didn't need to. When the gavel fell, Ava was mine, entirely. Camila tried to speak to me once after that, outside the courthouse. Her makeup smeared, coat thin against the wind. I didn't mean to, she said, voice small. I was just lost. I looked at her, truly looked at her. She was small now, smaller than guilt. She reached out to touch Ava's hand. I turned and walked away. Sometimes I think about the freezer, the silence, the moment before I opened it, the cold weight of grief before hope returned. Ava sleeps peacefully now. She giggles in her dreams. She doesn't remember the dark, but I do, and I remember what it taught me. Some monsters don't grow fangs. They wear perfume and whisper lullabies.